All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're going on a culinary adventure, exploring the amazing world of Indian food.
Sounds delicious.
It does, doesn't it?
Hmm.
And judging by the huge stack of material you guys have sent us, it seems like you're ready to go way beyond the usual, like, chicken tikka masala experience.
Definitely.
So get ready to uncover the incredible regional diversity and fascinating history behind Indian cuisine.
You got it. Indian food is definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Each region has its own distinct personality with unique flavors, ingredients, and cooking techniques. It's amazing.
Well, let's start our exploration in the north, shall we? I
Mm.
mean, North India to me just seems, synonymous with rich, creamy curries. I can
Oh.
practically smell the aroma of ghee already.
Ghee.
Yeah.
It's like liquid gold in North Indian cooking. It adds this wonderful richness and depth of flavor to pretty much everything it touches, you
Yeah.
know? It's incredible. But beyond just the prevalence of dairy, North Indian cuisine also has this fascinating historical influence, especially from the Mughal Empire.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more about this Mughal influence. How did it actually shape the flavors we associate with North Indian food today?
Well, the Mughals, they brought Persian and Central Asian influences with them when they came to India.
Right.
And you can still see those influences today in the use of rich spices like saffron, cardamom, and almonds. And they also introduced techniques like slow cooking and marinades, which are still very, very prevalent in North Indian cuisine.
Uh-huh. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That explains the complex and layered flavors I love so much in North Indian dishes. So speaking of those dishes, what are some of the must-try dishes,
Yeah.
from this region? The ones that really capture the essence of North Indian cuisine.
Oh, there are so many. But you absolutely cannot miss out on butter chicken or murg makhani, as it's traditionally known.
Oh, yeah.
Just imagine tender chicken simmered in this velvety tomato sauce. It's enriched with butter and cream and delicately spiced with a touch of sweetness. It's pure comfort food, Indian style.
Oh, butter chicken, one of my absolute weaknesses. Now tell me about Rogan Josh, because I've heard so much about it, but what makes it so special?
Rogan Josh is truly the king of curries.
Okay.
It gets this deep red color and incredibly complex flavor from a blend of Kashmiri chilies, warming spices like cinnamon and cloves, and you always got to have a touch of saffron for that earthy aroma.
Hmm.
The lamb is slow cooked until it's just falling apart, resulting in a dish that is both, robust and nuanced.
Wow, that sounds incredible. But North India is also famous for its vegetarian dishes, right? So what
Yeah.
comes to mind when you think of vegetarian North Indian food?
Oh, you can't talk about North Indian vegetarian cuisine without mentioning dal makhani.
Dal makhani, yes.
These black lentils are simmered for hours with butter and cream, and it just allows the flavors to meld together so beautifully.
Hmm.
It's a dish that's so satisfying, incredibly satisfying, and packed with flavor. It's a classic for a reason.
Absolutely. And of course, we can't forget about the tandoor. I mean, tandoori chicken, kebabs, that smoky flavor is just something else. It's like a hallmark of North Indian cuisine.
It really is. The tandoor, this clay oven, it just imparts a unique aroma and char to the food.
Yes.
It's a cooking technique that has been used in India for centuries, and it's still just as popular today. It's amazing.
Really adds a special touch, that's for sure.
Mm.
All right, I'm ready to venture south now. So what can you tell me about South Indian food that sets it apart from its northern counterpart?
Well, hold on to your hats because we're in for a completely different flavor profile.
Okay.
In South India, rice is king.
Oh,
And the dishes tend to be tangy, spicy, and often lighter than their northern counterparts.
okay. So from buttery to tangy and spicy, bring it on. I'm especially intrigued by dosa. What exactly is it and what makes it so popular?
Dosa is a staple in South India, and for good reason. Okay, picture this. A giant, crispy crepe made from fermented rice and lentil batter, served with sambar, which is a lentil stew, and an array of chutneys. It's the perfect balance of, textures and flavors, and you can honestly enjoy it for any meal of the day. It's amazing.
And I've heard that the chutneys in South India are like a world unto themselves.
Oh, there.
What makes them so unique?
Chutneys are an absolutely vital part of South Indian cuisine.
Okay.
They add these bursts of flavor and complexity to any dish, and they come in such a wide variety of textures and ingredients, from coconut and coriander to tomato and tamarind. Each chutney has its own distinct personality, and they're designed to really complement and enhance, the main flavors of a meal.
I can't wait to try them all. Now, I know you're going to tell me all about the important role of coconut, curry leaves, and tamarind in South Indian cooking.
You know me too well.
Uh-huh.
These ingredients are absolutely essential to that unique flavor profile of South Indian cuisine. Coconut brings that richness and creaminess. Curry leaves bring a fragrant aroma and this hint of citrus.
Hmm.
And then you have tamarind, which provides that signature tanginess, that makes South Indian food so refreshing.
Okay.
It's that perfect balance.
Now, speaking of signature dishes, can we talk about Hyderabadi biryani? I've heard it described as a culinary masterpiece, and I'm dying to know what makes it so special.
Hyderabadi biryani is indeed a culinary masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
It's this incredibly fragrant rice dish that's layered with marinated meat or vegetables, and it's infused with saffron, giving it this beautiful golden hue.
Wow.
The rice is cooked separately from the meat or the vegetables, and then it's layered together and steamed to perfection. The result, an incredibly flavorful aromatic dish with the perfect balance of spices and textures. It's truly a celebration of flavor and culinary skill.
You've sold me. South India is sounding more and more tempting with every detail. But before we get too carried away with the South, our culinary journey continues. Next stop, West India.
Yeah, West India is really interesting because it's where, the coast meets the desert.
Okay.
So it creates this really fascinating culinary landscape. You've got, the coastal influences of Goa, the vibrant street food scene of Mumbai,
Boy,
and then those unique flavors of Rajasthan, each adding its own kind of spice to the mix.
so many different flavors to explore. What immediately jumps to mind when you think of West Indian food?
For me, when it comes to West India, you absolutely can't miss out on the Goan cuisine.
Going, yeah.
The Portuguese influence is quite evident there, especially in dishes like their prawn curry.
Oh, tell me more about that. What makes Goan prawn curry so distinctive?
So just imagine succulent prawns simmered in this rich and tangy coconut milk gravy, infused with vinegar for that, touch of acidity,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course spiced with chilies for that gentle kick. It's a symphony of flavors that seafood lovers will absolutely adore.
That sounds divine. I'm already picturing myself on a Goan beach
Yeah.
enjoying that curry with the view. But you also mentioned Mumbai's street food scene earlier. So what are some must-try dishes that really capture, I guess, the essence of Mumbai's culinary spirit?
Mumbai street food is a world unto itself.
I bet it is.
It's a vibrant and chaotic mix of, flavors, textures, and aromas, and it just truly embodies that city's energy. You absolutely have to try pav bhaji. It's a dish that just perfectly encapsulates that Mumbai street food magic.
Okay, pav bhaji. What's the story behind this dish?
Okay, so picture this. You have this spicy, mashed vegetable curry brimming with flavor and color,
Mm.
served with these fluffy, buttered bread rolls known as pav. And it's just a symphony of textures, from the soft pav to the slightly crunchy vegetables, and it's bursting with flavor. It's a true Mumbai icon and a must-try for anyone visiting the city.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. But West India isn't all about coastal curries and street food, is it? What about the flavors of Rajasthan, the desert state? What sets their cuisine apart?
Well, Rajasthan is known for its bold and fiery flavors,
Yeah.
and it really reflects, I think, the resilience of its people and the harshness of the landscape.
Oh, wow.
One dish that really embodies that spirit is lal mas. It's a rich red mutton curry that is not for the faint of heart.
Lao Ma's, I've heard whispers of this legendary dish. What makes it so fiery?
It gets its intense heat from a generous amount of mathanya chilies, which is a specialty of Rajasthan.
Interesting.
So the mutton is slow cooked in this gravy made with yogurt, garlic, and this blend of spices that results in a dish that's both incredibly flavorful and, incredibly spicy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a true test of one's spice tolerance, but for those who can handle the heat, it's an unforgettable culinary experience.
I love a good spicy challenge, so I'm definitely adding Lao Ma's to my list. All right, let's move on to the eastern part of India now. What can you tell me about the culinary landscape of East India?
Well, East India, especially the region of Bengal, is known for its delicate and aromatic flavors. So unlike, the robust and spicy dishes of some other regions, Bengali cuisine is all about subtlety and balance.
So a completely different flavor profile again. What ingredients and cooking techniques really define Bengali cuisine?
Well, mustard oil and a blend of 5 spices known as panchphoron are essential to Bengali cooking.
Okay.
The use of freshwater fish is also a hallmark of the region, and their fish curries are absolutely divine. So think delicate flavors, subtle spices, and just a perfect balance of sweet and savory.
Sound like a welcome contrast to some of the spicier dishes we've been talking about. But I can't talk about East India without mentioning momos, those delicious little dumplings. They seem to be like everywhere these days.
I know, right? Momos are a testament to the cultural exchange that has really shaped Indian cuisine.
Right.
So originally from Tibet, momos have, become incredibly popular all across East India. And these little, steamed or fried dumplings are filled with various savory fillings from, minced meat to vegetables. And let me tell you, they're incredibly addictive.
Well, I can definitely attest to that.
Yeah.
All right, before we wrap up our culinary journey, we have to talk about Central India. It often seems overlooked when discussing Indian cuisine, but I'm sure it has its own unique charm, right?
Absolutely. Central India is a region with strong tribal influences, and its cuisine really reflects that unique heritage. So, for example, Madhya Pradesh is known for dishes like poha, which is a flattened rice dish,
Okay.
and buteka keys, which is essentially grated corn that's cooked with milk and spices.
Buteka keys. That sounds incredibly comforting and flavorful. What makes it so special?
It's a dish that just highlights the simplicity and the ingenuity of Central Indian cuisine. So it's made with fresh corn kernels that are grated and then cooked with milk, turmeric, chilies, and then a touch of sweetness. It's a perfect example of how simple ingredients can be transformed into something truly delicious with, a little bit of creativity.
It's amazing how we've gone from, the creamy curries in the north
Oh.
to the tangy flavors of the south, the coastal delights of the west, the delicate spices of the east, and now the simple yet flavorful dishes of central India. It just really highlights the incredible diversity of Indian cuisine.
I know, right? It really does. And amidst all this diversity, there are some common threads that unite all Indian food, a deep respect for tradition, a love for fresh ingredients, and a masterful use of spices.
Okay, let's talk about spices. They seem to be the heart and soul of Indian cooking. So what are some of the key spices that are used across different regions and what makes them so special?
Yeah, it's like each region has its own spice palette, and they use them in such different ways to create these, very unique flavor profiles.
Exactly. And we've talked about some of them: turmeric, cumin, coriander, garam masala. But then there's also, cardamom, cloves, cinnamon, black pepper, fennel seeds. I mean, the list just goes on and on.
It really does.
And each spice brings its own personality to the dish. And then when they're combined, they just create those complex layers of flavor that Indian food is so known for.
Absolutely. It's like an orchestra of flavor.
It is. It's fascinating how they can, transform a simple ingredient like lentils or vegetables into something truly extraordinary. What's the secret behind their mastery of spices?
Well, I think one key technique is tempering.
Okay.
And that's where whole spices are heated in oil or ghee to release their aromas before being added to a dish. And that process really, I think, elevates the flavor and the fragrance of the spices, making them even more potent.
It's that attention to detail that really makes Indian cuisine so special. And speaking of variety, we've also, touched upon the balance of vegetarian and non-vegetarian options across India.
Right.
Some regions seem to lean more towards vegetarian dishes, while others really embrace, meat and seafood.
Yeah, it's true. And it's really interesting to see how geography and culture kind of influence those culinary choices.
Right.
For example, in Gujarat and Tamil Nadu, vegetarianism is deeply rooted in religious and cultural traditions, and that's led to, this incredibly rich variety of vegetarian dishes.
Yeah, while places like Punjab, Bengal, and Kerala, with their abundance of livestock and coastal access, they feature a lot more meat and fish in their cuisine. It's amazing how those factors kind of shape the culinary landscape of each region.
Absolutely. And another aspect that we can't ignore is the vibrant street food culture that's just so integral to Indian life.
Oh, yeah.
Every city we've talked about has its own, unique street food scene.
I love that. It's like a culinary adventure on every corner.
Yeah.
You mentioned Delhi's chaats and Mumbai's vada pav, but are there any other street food highlights that come to mind?
Oh, there are so many. Where do I even begin? In Kolkata, you have to try the puchkas. These are like these crispy, hollow balls that are filled with spiced water and mashed potatoes.
Oh, wow.
And in Chennai, you can't miss the idli and dosa stalls that line the streets, serving up those South Indian staples with, a variety of chutneys and sambar. Street food is really a feast for the senses, and it's a true reflection of a region's, culinary spirit.
So we've explored, the regional differences, the role of spices, the balance of vegetarian and non-vegetarian options, and that vibrant street food culture. I mean, it's clear that Indian cuisine is incredibly diverse and complex. What's the one key takeaway you'd want our listener to remember from this deep dive?
I think amidst all this diversity, there's this common thread that unites all Indian food.
Mm.
That deep respect for tradition, that love for fresh ingredients, and just this mastery of flavor. And that's what makes Indian cuisine so captivating. It's a journey, not a destination.
Mm.
And the more you explore, the more you'll be rewarded with these incredible flavors and experiences.
Beautifully put. Understanding those regional differences, it can truly enhance your appreciation of Indian food as a whole. It takes you beyond, the chicken tikka masala experience, which, while delicious, it's just a tiny glimpse into this vast and vibrant world of Indian cuisine.
It really is. It's like learning a new language. It opens up this whole new world of understanding and enjoyment.
So as we wrap up this delicious deep dive, I have one final question for you.
Hmm.
If you could only explore one region's cuisine in depth, which would you choose and why?
Oh, that's a tough one. It's like asking me to pick a favorite child. But if I had to choose, I think I'd go with Kerala in South India. Oh, nice.
The seafood, the coconut milk, the abundance of fresh produce. It's just so vibrant and flavorful. What about you? Which region kind of speaks to your taste buds?
I'm really drawn to the bold flavors of Rajasthan and West India, that lal mas we talked about earlier. I'm determined to try it.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see that. You and that fiery red curry would get along famously.
Well, this has been quite a journey. We've tasted our way through all corners of India, and I'm feeling incredibly inspired to explore even further. And to our listener, we say this: don't just take our word for it. Go out and experience the incredible diversity of Indian cuisine for yourself. Try a new dish, explore a different region, let your taste buds guide you on this delicious adventure.
Exactly. There's a whole world of flavor out there waiting to be discovered. Who knows, you might even find your own favorite region and dish. And on that note, thank you for joining us on this delicious deep dive into the heart of Indian cuisine.
Mm.
We hope you've learned something new and that you're feeling inspired to embark on your own culinary adventure.
Absolutely. Until next time.